Paul Cooke, we've had a couple of days to reflect on Sunday's big victory. How do you look back on it now?
Yeah, arguably the best 40-minute performance that we've put in since I was at the club. I felt the players was really good, and what they did first half, as I said immediately after the game, I've got the same feelings that what they did in the first half allowed us to get out to 40 points in the second. So you just got to be guarding against any complacency this week and make sure that the players are bouncing into what is a big game at home against Batley at the weekend. So yeah, well done to the players. But as I'll stress to them, there's been nothing won yet at all.
100%. I know collectively the praise deserves to go collectively, but just a word on your fullback, Caleb Akins.
Yeah.
He's scored 8 tries in the 1895 Cup so far. It's not just his try scoring, his all-round game. He's been outstanding for you, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, yeah. The scary thing for Caleb is he doesn't realise how good he is, and that I still think he's got maybe 10 or 20% more in him. I think we still get more out of him. He's coming out of his shell a little bit more in terms of team meetings and talking to players about what he expects of them. So, like lots of other players, they're becoming a little bit more self-sustainable as a group, and more so the coaching staff just guiding these quality players. So I thought it was outstanding last week, head and shoulders the best player on the field for both teams. Scored 2, probably could have had a couple more, and didn't really put a foot wrong defensively in terms of catching the ball on the full and making lots of meters for us.
So the chief executive Martin Vickers has done a video just explaining the plans for the team on the send-off to Wembley and how the supporters can get involved. How important is that support? I mean, Sunday they were brilliant, and the scenes at the end, it was just great for the town and the fans and everyone.
Yeah, I'm not one to get involved in it, if I'm honest. I really aren't, Connor. I'm not one for being involved in all of that. I like the players go out there and put the bodies on the line, and I prefer the players to be with the fans and stuff. It was fantastic to watch. I think after the team photo that we had in front of the fans, myself and Jed just walked away to the halfway line and just had a look at the players celebrating with the supporters, and I think that's something that we've strived for, certainly since I became head coach here, in terms of bringing the group together, but bringing the community together with it as well. And it was lovely to see. There's certainly no question about that. And the number of tickets that we've sold already for Wembley, the send-off that we're going to have on the Friday morning when we finish training, the supporters can come in and watch the session pre-Wembley on the Friday as well. So there's lots of things geared up to that. I'll just take a back step on that right now and pretend that Wembley's still not going to be 3 weeks away, which it isn't, and we'll get a job done this weekend against Batley and then move to Barrow, because we're in a league position which I don't think any of us should be very pleased with.
And that is the sole focus now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're in training 3 days away from Batley at home.
Yeah.
Batley are a tough team. We've had some tough battles with them across the years, so the lads have got to be on it on Sunday, haven't they? Yeah,
they're doing it tough a little bit. I think they're doing it tough with personnel and playing different players out of position. They get Dane Manning back this weekend, who's big for them. Dane's the fabric of that club, along with 1 or 2 others. Woodsy at half back, who's very good for them, Whitey as well. So yeah, we're going to have to be good. There's no question about that. But we've got to try and replicate what we did last weekend and what we went in with last weekend in terms of a mentality and an attitude. And that will not be accepted to be lowered. Them standards aren't going to be lowered, mate. If the players lower them standards, then they're in very, very much at risk of not playing at Wembley, and that's the message they'll be given.
How are we looking squad-wise in terms of health at the minute?
Yeah, Toby's gone. Obviously, we're disappointed to lose Toby. We've obviously brought in James Lover, who's going to add competition to the outside backs and centres. Unfortunately, can't play at Wembley, so he comes into the mix. Brad Day should be back this week in terms of a body that we may choose. What's really difficult for us now is the performance was so good at the weekend, and we've got to start looking at who plays where and whether anybody does come back in, and you've got to earn your spot in our team. Nobody's a given. It's as simple as that. So yeah, there's going to be some competition for places, and for quite a number of weeks we'll be in a position where we're in a headache in terms of who we pick, not who we try and bring in to replace. So Nath Wild is another one who comes into the mix, who's back on loan from Lee. So we're pretty healthy at the moment in terms of squad competition, and long may that continue.